What's up guys, Rhino here and welcome back to my latest FIFA 20 Ultimate Team video on the channel guys. So this one is going to be kind of long awaited, I would have thought. I mean, something I've kind of wanted to do for a while, and I know a lot of people have already done this like days ago, and it's the icon swaps. Now this has been out for like nearly a week now guys. It's been, yeah, boy, it was like last Friday I think it came out, so nearly a week, and I didn't really do a video on it just yet because I wanted to kind of make my decision first really, and then just do the whole thing in one instead of just like kind of showing you guys what it is. You know, you guys can have a look at it, can't you? There's no need for me to show it, but we'll go through it now, and obviously I'll give my thoughts on some of the players, and you know, I'll tell you what I'm thinking of going for as it stands. Of course, I mean, things could change, but to be honest, I don't think it will change too much. Okay, so by doing it this way, we're actually going to be going in reverse apparently, so this is interesting. So we'll go from the bottom. So of course, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys probably know how it works by now, but obviously you see like on the different panels, it's got a number like 6, 8, 8, 9 on these, right? So that's how many icon swap tokens it takes. Of course, you get those via the objectives that you can grind to throughout the rest of the season. Actually, it's not like for just a week or whatever. You get the whole season to get this done. Still like 23 days or something on the season. I don't know. It's a fair while. You've got like at least 3 weeks anyway. And these, of course, you see the SBCs are actually 65 days as well. So it's going over like 2 seasons for the whole thing, but the current objectives don't last 65 days, so just make sure you get them done. Don't want to miss out. But so we got the first one is Peter Schmeichel for 6. This is baby Peter Schmeichel. Now I think like this is obviously an example of, you know, EA have kind of just got to have one that's slightly cheaper, and that's basically just to kind of give people the possibility to spend all of their tokens, because there'll be some a bit further down the line which are like, say like 16, 17, 18 or whatever. If you wanted that player, you then have like some swap players left over, and it basically, this just gives you the possibility to use up those tokens essentially. So really, like the Schmeichel for me would just be like an SBC card. I couldn't see myself actually using it in a team. I've not heard great things about it like over sort of this year and last year. I've never used it, so you never know. Like it could be one of those players that I actually really enjoy, but I find it unlikely. His stats look pretty average, to be honest. He doesn't look like an icon really. If that was just like a bog standard gold 86 rated card, I don't think there'd be much hype around it. So I'm not going to go ahead and get that one as like a priority. Like I'm not going to rule out, I mean, potentially I may get it as an SBC. I need to have a look at how much the player is that I want to get first. So maybe by the end of the video I might say, you know what, I'm gonna go for this one, but I'm not sure. So for 8 tokens you can get either JJ Okocha or Pep Guardiola. So I think this Okocha is, I want to say the mid Okocha, I believe. I think he has an 85 baby card. I could be wrong. I don't really know a lot about the icons. I've never had half the icons in the game, this is the thing, so I don't know a huge amount about all of them. This would be a baby Guardiola, of course, because it wouldn't be anything below an 85. He doesn't look too bad, to be honest. He just like a solid CDM, but he couldn't play anywhere else really. You couldn't put him like in centre midfield because he just wouldn't have the tools to play like more attacking, to be honest. Good work rates for a CDM, 5'11", but being a Liverpool fan, I could not take Pep Guardiola as an icon, so that just isn't going to happen. This Okocha has only got 83 pace on the right midfield position. He does a 4-star, 5-star, but only medium low work rates, which is not great, so I think I'll probably steer clear from that as well. I don't really want to go at like all in on some of the lower ones anyway, because obviously the more tokens that it costs, then obviously the better the card. So ideally you'd want to go in and just take one of the big ones first, and then just use your leftovers to get like Schmeichel, or maybe there won't be any leftovers, you go for the very top dog, top drog should I say. But yeah, so moving on to number 9 is, well, sorry, 9 tokens for Giggs. He only has 2-star weak foot and 3-star skills, so I don't see a lot of people going for him. I'm not going to go for him. Medium is okay, but not brilliant. Only 84 pace, only 80 shooting as well, like 64 physical. You kind of wonder like what he would really do on the pitch. Like I don't see that he would offer a lot, to be honest. I wouldn't feel very happy with having him in my team. He's the sort of player, like, he'd be a good left mid in a 4-4-2 if the game worked like real life, but a lot of time you want your wingers to get into like goal scoring positions. I just don't think he'd be that good as that sort of player. So I'm personally going to steer clear from Giggs. Nesta's an interesting one. I know like a lot of people are quite sort of interested to go for Nesta. Weak foot skills isn't really like the biggest issue with a centre back. I mean, 3 stars fine. If it was 2-star weak foot, then I'd be a little bit concerned, but 3 stars absolutely fine. Medium high work rates, perfect. 6'2", pretty good. I mean, you could say perfect. Height, anything from sort of like 6'1" to 6'4", I see to be perfect, to be honest. Like 6 foot sometimes is a little bit small. It's fine, to be honest. Like 6 foot, there's a lot of 6 foot centre backs that are brilliant. It's not the end of the world. Anything bigger than 6'4" just seems a little bit like lanky and clunky on the pitch. So I don't tend to like any of those, but yeah, he's fine. 70 pace is an interesting one because I feel like that's a little bit misleading, because if he had 1 less pace and he had 69, everybody would be like, oh, he looks really slow. But they literally just bump it up 1 to 70 and suddenly everybody just thinks that he looks brilliant. Of course, 90 defending, 85 physical is fantastic, as you'd expect. 63 passes, 65 dribbling, pretty much a bog standard centre back really. Some have a little bit more, which makes them a bit more desirable because it gives them like more agility. You can play out from the back with them a bit more, but in terms of just a defender who's going to defend, he would be brilliant. I just feel like his pace might like leave him getting caught out a little bit at times, but for 9 tokens, you know, that's absolutely fine, to be honest. That was what you would expect that for 9. Whether or not that's his baby or his mid, I'm not sure, to be honest. I'd almost be tempted to say that might be his baby, because I think he's probably one of those ones he's got a couple of very high rated cards on for, because he was a top player at his time. Now Roberto Carlos, now this is a baby Roberto Carlos. This actually looks like a really good card, to be honest. Like, he does look solid. Only 2-star weak foot, but that's not really the end of the world really with a left back. 5'6", which could be an issue at times, but heading isn't really that OP in this game, so probably not. High medium work rates, which is pretty good. Yeah, he's obviously just a very attacking left back. Like, you know what you're going to get with Roberto Carlos. Like, everybody knows everything about him. But look at his stats. Like, almost everything's an 80, and he has 92 pace. Like, he does look brilliant. Personally, like, I'm thinking I won't go for him just because I'm trying to steer clear of these baby icons, guys. I just think, like, at this point at the start, this Icon Swaps 1, there's going to be 2 and 3 throughout the year. Now, Icon Swaps 1 is obviously going to be full of like some of the slightly lower tiered players that people don't necessarily want and wouldn't buy as much on the market. Now, I just think if you're going to take one out of that, you ideally want to try and go for like a prime card, really, because there are some prime icons in this. You don't really want to be going for a baby icon, like, and I've had baby icons before from like the base icon SBCs, and you know, they're fine, but just part of me wants to be like, you know what, if I'm going to have an untradeable icon for once, like, I want it to be a prime. I don't want to be going for a baby icon. So I'm probably not going to go for Roberto Carlos, although I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a bad move to go for him. But I think you've got to sort of think in your head as well, if you go for Roberto Carlos, who are you then going to get to go with it? So I think there's going to be like 24 icon swap like cards available. So if you go for Roberto Carlos, you could then take, theoretically, you could just take, say, an Crespo, which would be great. But again, it's another baby card. Or you could take Patrick Kluivert, again, another baby card. Or even like closer, and that would be it, because Ballack would be slightly out of the price range. But so there's, you know, there's possibilities for sure. It wouldn't be the worst thing to go for, but you then be looking at a couple of baby icons, and I don't really want to go down that route personally, but I can understand if some people did. So moving on, for 12 you can get obviously Crespo, or Clivert, which obviously just spoke about. But in general, the stats don't look too bad to us, guys. Like, I heard good things about Crespo last year. I think in terms of like a lot of the cheap icons, he's probably one of the best ones actually, because he's just a very like pacey, sweaty player. 70 pass, 70 physical isn't like disastrous for a striker. He's got 4-star, 6 foot as well. It would be better if he had high medium work rates, to be honest, for me personally, but medium isn't too bad. He just looks decent, and he gets like pretty good links as well actually. Like, obviously a way of getting, say for example, like Messi into a team with good green links, so he's a pretty good option. Clivert is an interesting one because he's a little bit quicker than Crespo, like just, but his shooting and dribbling aren't sort of really as good. Passing is a lot better than physical as well, but he's quite a big boy, isn't he? 6'2", high low work rates, which is okay, like 4-star again, but I've heard that he's quite clunky. 79 agility, he doesn't look too bad, to be honest. I've never used him before, but I've not heard the best of things about this Patrick Kluivert card, so personally, just from what people have told me, I would steer clear. Like, I don't really feel like I want to go for it. This Closer that you can get for 12 as well is an interesting one really with Miroslav Klose, because for me, he's one of these players that I don't think he'd ever really truly be replicated on FIFA. A bit like Thomas Muller. He was just a deadly finisher, Klose. Like, 83 pace, 81 dribbling is obviously not amazing, but 87 shooting, you just can't, the way the game is, you can't justify a player that was that good. Even if you give him like 99 shooting, he'd still miss because of how the game is, like, and it would just be frustrating, and his pace stuff would let him down. And 75 passing and 78 physical is actually really good, to be honest, for a striker. Very, very impressive. High medium work rates is perfect for me. 6 foot tall, 4-star weak foot is brilliant. He's only got 3-star skills, but that doesn't actually bother me personally, so he wouldn't be that bad of a player. Like, in all seriousness, he would be a good option. It's just whether you can deal with that 83 pace, essentially, guys. And he will cost you 12, so if you were to pick up Closer, you would then only be able to get people a bit further down the range here. So you'd have to go for like Crespo or Clivert, Roberto Carlos or Nesta, something like that. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to then go get a Ballack, as far as I know, because yeah, there just wouldn't be enough. There wouldn't be enough icon swaps. And then, obviously, speaking of Ballack, we got him and Andrea Pirlo as well there for 14. To be honest, they look like pretty good cards actually, but this is the issue that you get now, like I was saying, with Closer. Like, if you once we move into this bit here, if you pick these players, any of the ones that you pick to go with it are going to have to be worse. So you're then going to be picking up players that I've just said that I wouldn't really want to go for. So basically just like taking players for the sake of it. Now Ballack does look very good. 72 pace, it's not perfect, but to be honest, it's enough to play midfield. Medium high work rate, so he's going to be a pretty good CDM or sort of like wide centre midfielder. 6'2", which means he's an absolute powerhouse. Like, with 4-star, he does look very good, to be honest. Like, the pace like just disappoints me a little bit, but I think all in all, he would be phenomenal, to be honest, guys. He would be absolutely brilliant. And I know like a lot of people that have used him and have loved him. The only kind of letdown is that it's the baby card again, and like the important thing to know, guys, is that if a player gets a baby icon, then they won't, like, their prime or their mid card will not then appear in icon swaps 2 or 3. They announced it like before FIFA 20 was released actually, that when a card, like when one variation of an icon gets released, they literally can't have another one in icon swaps. Of course, that, you know, you can still pack the players, you still buy them, so they're still available to be obtained, but they're just not attainable in icon swap. So that is something to note. Like, if this is what I'm thinking about one of them actually, like one of the ones a bit further down the line, I'm thinking, you know what, I don't really want to go for the mid version because I'd love to have the prime. And if you get the mid version of something, or the baby version untradeable now, then it kind of seems a bit pointless getting the prime later on, because you know you're then going to have one card that's just essentially void in your club, and you have to try and put it into an SBC, which hopefully there's a possibility to do that, but I don't know, because there's not going to be icon SBCs this year, so it'd be interesting to see if you can use like cheap icons in an SBC kind of way. So Pirlo looks kind of average, to be honest. He has better cards, is what I would say. Only 70 pace, 66 defending, 64 physical. He's a classic example of a player you just cannot replicate. You cannot replicate the genius of this man in FIFA. It just won't happen. 90 dribbling, 91 passing is fantastic, but that's what you would actually expect. 79 shooting is probably about right, really. But you just look at that card and you think, well, like, I mean, he's 5'10". He does have 4-star, 5-star, which is great, but only medium work rates, which isn't ideal. And you kind of think, like, well, could I play him in CDM? No, because he's not strong enough. He's not big enough. He's not got the defensive attributes to do that. You could play him in like a midfield 3 in centre mid. You could probably get away with that, but his work rates would let him down. Again, like, just the physical and defending stats and the pace, like that, he just wouldn't have the mobility to get around. Just wouldn't really help him. Could you play him in like in a 2 midfield in centre mid? No, because you got to have a box to box player, like a well-rounded midfielder to play that sort of role. Could you play him in cam? No, because he's not quick enough. Like, he's got the dribbling, he's got the passing, he's got the shooting, but he's not got the pace. Like, I don't see a role for him in a team, unfortunately, guys. So I'd have to steer clear of that one. Roy Keane is an interesting one, because I think he actually looks alright, to be fair to him. And that is a prime Roy Keane as well. So if you go for this, then there's no way that this card can become sort of like void or pointless to you at any stage, unless of course you got more icons. But if you wanted Roy Keane specifically in your team, this would be the man. So medium height, which is brilliant, 5'11", it's absolutely fine. He's only got 3-star weak foot, which is a little bit of a shame, but to be honest, is he really going to be hitting many shots for that sort of scenario? Then probably not. Passing wise, it probably isn't going to be the end of the world. Only 2-star skills, but you're not going to expect that, especially from Roy Keane. There's 72 pace is, again, obviously the same as Ballack, so it's one of those ones. It's probably just about acceptable, really, because he's such a powerhouse. Only 71 shot, but to be honest, he's more of a CDM. I don't think anybody's really going to try and play him in cam, so should be fine in that sense. Good dribbling, good passing, brilliant defending and physical, as you'd expect. So he'd be a very, very solid card to go for. He does cost 15 though, guys, so if you got all 24 and you picked him up for 15, you're then sort of looking at maybe like Nesta for 9, or Giggs for 9, or maybe like an Okocha or Guardiola. So maybe like Keane and Nesta wouldn't be the worst thing to go for. That would definitely be a possibility for you guys. Another one who costs 15 is Rivaldo. So that's a baby Rivaldo as well. And he has 2-star weak foot, which I think is just a huge letdown. He's 4-star skills, 6'1" with high-low work rates. He's a very like unusual cam, to be honest. He's tall. He has high-low work rates as if he's like a striker. But then he has 2-star weak foot. It just kind of makes you think, like, I don't think he'd be that good. He has good stats, like on his card. He has pretty good stats, but I just don't think I personally would be able to use him. I don't think he would be like that amazing, really. And for 15, I don't really think I'm going to go out my way to get that, especially because it's a baby card. Like, if you could go out and get like, well, is it a baby card actually? Maybe it's the middle one. I think in my head I can think of another image which is a baby card. I've packed the baby Rivaldo before. I packed it last year, but I can't remember what the photo looked like. That might be the middle Rivaldo actually. I don't know if it says. No, it doesn't. Okay. So it's not the prime Rivaldo though, but whatever. And the next one, guys, is one that's actually been pretty popular. In fact, both of these have been pretty popular actually. So you got Ian Wright and Rio Ferdinand, 2 English icons, both costing 16. They're both brilliant in game. This is the big thing about these cards. They're very, very OP in game. So Ian Wright, I mean, I think a lot of people want to go for him just because they love him as a guy. Like, he's such a great guy. Like, everybody just wants him. He has 4-star weak foot, which is fine. 3-star skills are a little bit of a letdown for some people, but for me personally, I don't care about that. Medium is kind of a bit annoying. Like, I prefer it to be high medium, but because it's him, you'd be like, you know what? Who cares? 5'9" is good. Yeah, 89 pace with 82 dribbling and 90 shot. 90 shot. Now, I don't think that's his prime on the 4 as an 89 rated card. I'd imagine that's probably his middle card. I don't think his baby, I think his baby would be a bit of a lower rated card than that. 77 physical is actually pretty good as well. 70 passing for a striker is fine. Now, he's just going to be a brilliant card. Like, he fits the way his game is with like pace and stuff, just like getting behind. He fits it perfectly. And then obviously there's a lot of Arsenal fans as well out there, so they'll be wanting to go for him. He's just a likeable guy, so definitely one that's you'll probably see that quite a lot, that card at 16 as well. It's fairly cheap. It gives you the possibility to go out and get another icon alongside him as well, so you probably see that quite a lot. Ferdinand is an interesting one because it's a baby card, so it kind of puts me off, but his baby card is actually in some people's eyes is the best one because it's the fastest one. With 84 pace, only 84 defending, 83 physical. So essentially, as you go up the Ferdinands, they kind of like lose a bit of pace, but they gain a bit more defending and physical. So it's kind of what you value as a player, really. And then 70 dribble is brilliant for a centre back. 65 passing is fine. 6'2" is good. Medium work rates is kind of average. I prefer them to have a high defensive work rate. 3-star. Obviously, it doesn't really matter too much. So pretty good card. He's just like a really like sweaty, pacey centre back who he'll do a job. He will honestly do a job. Like for 16 for icon swaps, why not? I couldn't argue against anybody that would take him, to be honest. I couldn't argue against it. Obviously, there's going to be other better centre backs out there. Being only an 85 rated card kind of puts me off a little bit, so he's not really someone that I'm personally looking to go for. But I'm not going to rule it out completely because obviously by the time I get enough swaps to claim one of these icons, God knows what the situation is going to be. Like the player that I'm thinking of going for, I might have a player in that position by then, so who knows. So I wouldn't rule him out, but right now he's not in the equation. The next one for 17 is Rui Costa. Now, this is a prime Rui Costa, which gives it a little bit more of a reason to go for it, in my opinion. 86 pace, 88 dribbling, 81 shooting, 88 passing, 79 physical. Looks solid, to be honest. He looks solid. 4-star, 5'11", which is brilliant height for a cam. Medium work rates, which is pretty decent as well. He looks like a solid card on the face of it, guys. I know, like, was it last year or the year before? I think it might be the year before. Like, loads of people had him. There was a time when he was, they only like, they drip fed out a few of the icon SBCs one year, and he was one of the first ones, and so many people used him, and he was brilliant. Like, he literally smashed me up so much. I never had him because I couldn't afford him, but yeah, he's a brilliant card. 17, in my opinion, might be maybe a bit too much. I'm not sure. Obviously, it is a prime card, so you can argue that that's probably what it should cost for a prime icon. Oh wait, it does say prime icon. Yeah, base icon. To earn base icon Rivaldo. To earn prime icon. Let me just quickly have a look at this. I want to just enlighten myself here. So base icon Pirlo, base icon Ballack, mid icon Closer, base icon base. That is base icon Nesta, base icon Giggs, base mid, base. Okay, interesting. I didn't see that before. But yeah, that's just to clarify that. So yeah, prime icon Rui Costa. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go for him, guys. Basically, I know it's gonna drag on a bit the way it's going. So moving on. So other players you can pick up for 17. So we got Zanetti, and we've also got Hugo Sanchez. Zanetti is actually the guy which I'm thinking of going for. Surprisingly, I didn't expect to say it at the start because, being a right back, you know, when this whole thing first came out, I thought, you know what, I probably want to go for a striker or like a forward player. But He's actually really good, to be honest. He's really good. Like, I had his left back card on FIFA 18 that I got in a base icon SBC, and he was brilliant. I absolutely loved him. He was so solid, and I'm thinking, like, because there's not a lot of players that really stand out to me and catch my attention, that I might just go for him, because it's a prime Zanetti. Goes at right back. He looks absolutely solid. I literally can't fault him. Like, he's the perfect right back. And I just think, why not go in there, pick him up, right back position sold for the rest of the year, and then I can take an attacking player when Icon Swaps 2 comes out, or Icon Swaps 3, because if I go and take a striker now, and then a better striker comes out for Icon Swaps 2, maybe the striker that I pick in this one, I'm not going to use. I don't want to waste these cards, so I'd actually rather go out there and get a prime icon in this one right now, guys, and then move on and get my forwards at like a later date. So Zanetti is going to be my man currently. Of course, it could change. Like, you know, I could go out. I could pack Zanetti, or I could pack Carlos Alberto. It's not going to happen, but it could. There's always that possibility, or there could be some really good right back that I get, which will mean I don't want to have Zanetti, but to be honest, I think I will. He looks like my man so far. Hugo Sanchez at 17 as well. He looks really good to feel, like 90 pace, 88 dribbling and shooting is just filthy. 78 passing as well. He's 5'9". He only has 3-star weak foot, being left footed, so kind of an interesting one. I don't know if he might be a little bit too short and weak with only 70 strength. Kind of makes me think that I wouldn't want to go for him. The fact he only has 58 composure worries me, I've got to say. That's quite staggering for a striker who has 91 finishing. So I'm not sure if he'd be amazing, but I can see why he's worth 17. You can get a base icon pack at 18, which for me I don't see the point, honestly, guys. I don't see the point in going for that. I think it's a lot, like 18 tokens for that, for literally like a random base icon, when you could end up getting somebody that's in this, which would be such a waste. Like, could you imagine if you spent 18 on that and then you got Peter Schmeichel, who you could have just picked up for 6? I mean, you'd be devastated. Of course, there's a possibility to get like Ronaldo or something like that, but I just don't see the point in taking a gamble. What is the point in taking the risk on that? So I would probably steer clear of that, because you know, you can pick up prime icons in this, or middle icons, so why do you want a base icon? It's just pointless. You can get a baby Butragueno there for 19, who looks really good actually. He does look really good. He's a 5-star weak foot, which is a big draw to him for a lot of people. 90 pace, 89 dribbling, 86 shooting. He does look brilliant. Medium again. He's only 5'6", which is a bit of a downside, so he's quite weak with 61 strength. He's actually almost more of a cam, to be honest, guys, in my opinion, because of how short he is. I think he'd be better playing in cam, but if you wanted to go for him, you know, I mean, fair play, good choice. He would be a top player, but for me, it's an always situation, because he's a base icon. I just think you'd want his middle, wouldn't you? Or like, you'd want his prime. Why go for his base? So Gerrard is coming in at 19 as well. For me personally, like, obviously as a Liverpool fan, like, Gerrard would be a great one to go for, and I'm a little bit disappointed really that it's this one that is in the icon swaps, because this is from when he like first like broke onto the scenery at Liverpool, and this is like kind of his early years that I didn't really see as much of, just obviously like for my age, so it's not really as like relatable for me. I prefer like either his prime or his baby in some respects. Like, his baby's not that good, but it's like the years that I've watched of him play. All in all though, it's a brilliant card. It's a really solid card. Great work rates. 6 foot tall. He only has 3-star weak foot, which is a bit of a shame. But I mean, look at the stats. They're nearly all green. Like, so you can't really sort of complain about going for someone like him. But obviously you've got to consider that if you pick him up for 19, you then can't get anything else, because Schmeichel costs 6. There's not going to be 25 icon swaps as far as I know. So you have to be careful going with someone like Gerrard. The same as like Butragueno as well. It'll be like 19, so it's kind of risky going for those sort of players, guys, to be honest. You're going to have like swaps that you're just going to be wasting, but I see why they've done it, because obviously not everybody's going to be able to get all of the icon swaps, so that's why they've got these players here as this option. But for me personally, I'm aiming to go for every single one. So I don't really want to be thinking of going for like a Gerrard or even like a Hadji we've got coming up now. So this guy is a prime icon, which is good. 91 rated, which looks incredible. 4-star, 4-star. He only got medium low work rates, but he does look very good, and I've heard good things about him. With 83 pace, 90 dribbling, 89 shooting, and 90 passing. Does look very, very solid. Only 60 strength, brilliant composure, okay stamina at 78. He's an interesting one. You can't really get many green links unless you've got more icons, because obviously there's not many great Romanians out there. So you'd have to be careful with that, guys. You're probably only going to be getting soft links. So you got to sort of think, can you use your icons to boost the rest of your team's chemistry? So he might not necessarily do that. And then we've got Michael Owen, who's also 20. It was another prime icon. Very similar actually to maybe like Hugo Sanchez in terms of stats, like 90 pace, 88 dribbling, 89 shooting. Looks filthy. But he's only 5'8" again. Maybe Sanchez was 5'9" possibly. Does a 4-star, 3-star, which isn't terrible. Medium work rates. But his strength's low. He does have a good composure. Okay stamina. He looks like a decent player. I just wonder if he might be a little bit too short and weak for me personally. So I don't think I would necessarily go for him. I think it's a lot as well. Like, I just think if you're going to go out and get a striker, then get this man. Then get the Drog, because I mean, my word, this is going to be like, it's going to be terrifying to play against. Honestly, terrifying. I'm personally thinking of steering clear of it because I'm a little bit of a cynic, and I wonder if like it's going to be one of these examples of a player that he's 23 tokens, so you can afford to miss out on one, guys. Like you got to be almost faultless. You only miss out on one, and this is only a middle icon, which is like a big thing for me. I'm thinking like, you know what, if I want to get Drogba, I want to get a prime Drogba. Like I don't really, or like I don't know, I think they're doing prime icon moments as well this year. I don't really want to get a middle Drogba. Surprisingly, his stats actually kind of like concern me a little bit. It's just the fact that he's got 80 dribbling. Like, don't get me wrong, like that's what he probably should have, to be honest. But I just wonder if that's actually going to be that good. But high with 6'2" and 4-star, 4-star. I mean, you can't ask for a lot more, to be honest. He's quick enough. He's 85 pace. His shooting is just going to be crazy from like all distances. Like, look at that, guys. I mean, wow. 92 strength. He's just going to bully people. He will absolutely bully people. Brilliant in the air as well. He can take free kicks. You can do literally whatever you want, essentially. And 86 jumping, like for a guy 6'2", that is scary. But I'm just wondering if the reason they've put him as 23 is not necessarily because he's like really good in game, but it might be because of the hype around him. And it worries me kind of submitting 23 players, and then if I don't like him, I'll be gutted. Do you know what I mean? Like, you put all that in to then not like the player, you think, oh god, I fucked up. So, like I said before, like striker wise, I think I probably want to get like one from the later icon swaps, like a prime icon. So I'm probably not going to do Drogba, but I don't know. Maybe it'll get to the point where possibly I'll be almost there, like got all my icon swaps, and some people might already have him and they'll have picked him up and they'll say that he's incredible, and it might change my mind. But right now, guys, I think I'm going to go for Javier Zanetti, and then that would mean that because I'll have, well, ideally, if I get them all done, I'll have 7 swaps remaining, which would actually leave me just basically picking up Schmeichel for no reason really, just to go into an SBC or something. So I'll probably take Zanetti and Schmeichel. This video has been a very long one, but I wanted to go through this in sort of a bit of detail to hopefully help you guys out. To really like explain my choices. But so basically it looks like it's going to be Zanetti and Schmeichel, but maybe Drogba. Maybe I'll give in and take Drogba last minute, I'm not sure, but that is my decision as of today, guys. There's still plenty of time to go. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys are thinking of doing, and your reasons behind it, if you like agree or disagree with any of the reasons that I've given, or if there's like different things that you think I've missed out on that might sway my mind. And if you did find this video useful and you did enjoy it, then feel free to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my FUT20 content on the channel, guys. But that is it from me. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you later.